Thanks, Christy. Hello, my name is Jackie Scharfenberg. I'm the naturalist with the Kettle Moraine State Forest Northern Unit. Do you know why birds fly south for the winter? And why turtles have cracked shells? There's a legend from the Dakota Sioux Native American tribe that might have a possible answer to that question. It's how turtle flew south for the winter. It's one of my favorite turtle tales. Afterwards, we'll explore for the truth behind that story to learn what turtles need in order to survive. So you ready? It was the fall of the year and Turtle was out for a walk. And he looked up in the trees and he saw all the birds gathering there. "Hey, what you doing?" "Don't you know?" the birds asked. "We're getting ready to fly south. That's where summer keeps the warm temperatures and lots of food." As soon as they mentioned food, Turtle was excited. "Can I come along?" "Silly Turtle," said the birds. "You can't come along. You can't fly." Well, Turtle kept pestering the birds, and finally, just to get him to be quiet, they did figure out a way. They told Turtle that he had to hold on to the stick with his mouth, while two big birds grabbed either side of that stick to carry him south. They warned him, "Turtle, you cannot open your mouth. You have to keep it shut." He agreed. "No, let's go south where summer has all that food." So the two big birds lifted him off the ground and they began to fly. And as they went over the land, he was wondering where they were and how long it would take to get down south. He tried to get the birds' attention by rolling his eyes, then he waved his legs, but the birds just kept on flying. He started to get angry, and finally he said, "Why don't you listen to?" And as soon as he opened his mouth, he had to let go of that stick, and down he tumbled. He pulled in his head and his legs to protect himself inside his shell, but when he hit the ground, his shell cracked. That fall should have killed him. But he did feel achy and sore all over, so he crawled to the nearest pond and dug himself down in the muck, and there he spent the winter until the warmth of spring came again. So it is to this day that turtles bury themselves and hibernate, and birds fly south for the winter. That was a pretty cool legend, but it didn't have all the truths about turtles. So to get the real story, I thought it'd be nice to meet some live turtles. And the first one I'm going to have you meet today is a red-eared slider. It's our pet. Red-eared sliders are not native to Wisconsin, but they are closely related to our painted turtles. And if you were to look at this turtle shell, it does look like it's cracked. But if you examine it more closely, you see that it's plates or big scales. Now I want you to reach behind and feel where your backbone is, and feel where your ribs are. On a turtle, its backbone runs right along the top of the shell on the inside. Its ribs have fused together to create both the top and the bottom shell. So it's part of its skeleton. It can't climb out of its shell like those turtles on that cartoon, any more than we can climb out of our skeleton. You notice how sleek this turtle is. This helps it to move very easily through the water. Its dark top and light bottom helps it to camouflage well in its water environment. I'm going to set the turtle down and hopefully she'll put out her legs and you can check out her long claws. And she also has webbing between her toes, much like a duck has webbing between its toes. And just like that duck uses its feet for swimming, the turtle uses its webbed feet to swim very quickly and easily through the water. It uses those claws to climb up onto logs to bask in the sun. Now turtles need to bask because they're exothermic. That's a pretty big word. Can you say that with me? Exothermic. That means they are the same temperature as their environment. So when it's cold outside, they're cold. When it's warm outside, they're warm. Being exothermic, they don't have to eat a whole lot of food, not like a warm-blooded animal. but it also means that they have to hibernate during the winter time. So water turtles will bury themselves into the muck under a pond or a lake and sleep there until the warm weather of spring. Now I want you to check out that beak on this turtle. It's very much like a beak on a bird, but it's very tough and strong. And it eats all sorts of different kinds of food. That means it's an omnivore. Oh no, another big word. Can you say that one with me? Omnivore. This water turtle's diet includes water plants, water insects, minnows, and all kinds of other water creatures. Now, I have another turtle I'd like you to meet. It's much smaller than our red-eared slider. This is one of our native paint turtles. It probably hatched out last year or maybe even this spring. Its mom left the pond and found a spot where she dug a hole in the ground, and there she buried 4 to 8, maybe even up to 20 soft-shelled eggs. This one escaped nest predators like raccoons, skunks, and opossums. And if it's lucky, it can live to be 30 years old, maybe even up to 40 years old. So that's our little painted turtle. I have one last turtle I would like you to meet, and this turtle lives on the land. It's one of... Oh, here it comes flying in. She likes to boot scoot around. This is an ornate box turtle. It lives in the dry prairies of western Wisconsin, and because it needs some specific habitats, its population is in trouble. It's an endangered species here in the state of Wisconsin. It gets the name ornate box turtle because of the ornate or fancy markings on its shell. You also notice that this shell is much more domed than the water turtles, and it also has a hinge on the bottom here, kind of like a door hinge. So when this turtle gets scared, it can pull in its legs and its feet and its head and close that bottom shell called the plastrum tight against the top shell. So when it sits on the ground, it looks like a giant rock. And predators can't get through that tough shell. This turtle has no webbing, so it can't swim, but it uses those claws, as you can see, to move along actually pretty quickly. It loves to eat strawberries and grasshoppers and worms and green leaves. So it makes it an omnivore, just like the water turtles, eating all different kinds of food. The female ornates do dig a nest in the ground, and they do lay their soft-shelled eggs in there. These turtles will hatch out, and if they're lucky, they can live to be 30 to 40 years old, and some have even lived as much as 50 years old. So as you can see, turtles have a lot of great adaptations. Can you help me make a list of them? First off, they have tough shells. They have strong beaks for eating. They have claws to help them move around. And if you're a water turtle, you have webbing between your toes. You are exothermic, so you get your heat from the environment, so you don't have to eat a whole lot, but you do need to hibernate for the winter. And they also have great camouflage. That's a pretty impressive list of adaptations for survival. So as you can see, there are a lot of truths to that legend, but there were still even more to learn. If you would like to learn ways to help turtles or to learn more about them, check out the Wisconsin DNR's website or EEK, E-E-K, Wisconsin. If you would like to learn more turtle tales, because there's all kinds from all over the world, check out the reading list on the attached link. So now it's time to pass on the walking stick to Beth, who will be spinning you some spider tales.